My opponent makes the argument that prisons prevent criminals from reoffending and that prisons reduce crime rates. I would like to argue against these statements. Firstly, you stated that because of the education systems provided in prisons, criminals are less likely to reoffend. I would like to argue that the educational systems in prisons don't only fail to prevent reoffenders, but they cost way too much money. The US Census collected data to compare the cost of education for public school children ranging from preschool to the 12th grade versus education costs for inmates. The results were astounding. In all 40 states listed, the graph shows that the cost per inmate greatly exceeds the cost per student. For instance, in California, the average cost of public education per student is about $10,000. Meanwhile, the average cost of education for inmates is roughly $45,000. There's absolutely no reason why people's tax dollars should be spent for such a substantial amount on criminals' education when they aren't even spending that much money on the education for the children. Yes, I agree that inmates need to be educated in order to at least attempt to prevent them from more crimes upon their release. However, the substantial amount of money that is being poured into education for incarcerated people must be reduced greatly. Because this number is only increasing, it is proven that this number is not going to decrease anytime soon, and therefore prisons should be abolished entirely. This all relates back to one of my main points for why prisons should be abolished. They're costing innocent civilians way too much money in tax dollars and not receiving results. Also, according to Mark Colvin, an ABC News broadcaster, your claim that prisons prevent reoffending, especially in burglaries, is false. In his article, he states, "A new study has shown that prison does not prevent criminals from reoffending. A study by the New South Wales Bureau of Crime Statistics found that people convicted of burglary or non-aggravated assault were actually more likely to reoffend if they went to prison than those who got a non-custodial sentence." Lastly, you stated that my argument about sexual abuse in prisons is invalid because the individuals are the ones committing the crimes, not the prison as a whole. However, I disagree with this statement because according to the Human Rights Quarterly, people are crying for help, but their requests are being ignored entirely. Therefore, it's not just the sexually abusive workers that are to blame, but the prison system as a whole that isn't acting on the crimes that are being reported. Thank you.